Hey, welcome to the Truly Myrtle podcast. I'm Libby, and this is a live broadcast. I go out every Thursday morning from down here in New Zealand at 10 a.m. and the sun is shining, but it's still a little bit chilly. So let me just see your comments, because you can join me live. I go out live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. Facebook's always a little bit slower to get here, but it's Facebook and YouTube at the same time. If you're there, you can give me a thumbs up. You could say, hey, I can see there are some thumbs up, so it's nice to see those. Give me a thumbs up. Say, yes, I'm here, Libby. Thumbs up, like that. That's how you do it. Hey, Kim from Northern California. Hi, Ruth. You're sewing. Nice. Oh, Amanda, you're driving today, so you have to listen carefully while you're driving. Hi, Rachel. Lovely to see you. Hi, Christine from Coffs Harbour. I was looking at your neck of the world the other day because I was trying to work. I'm plotting to get to Australia next year. I might come a couple of times. We'll see. And I was looking up around your way at Coffs Harbour and up there and thinking, yeah, actually, maybe I could do that. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? Anyway, we will see how I go. It's 11 o'clock in the UK and Natasha is under her duvet. It sounds like a good place to be, Natasha. I think so. I have to pull you closer. It's really hard to see you from so far away. Hi, Catherine. The rain has finally stopped in Sydney. Hallelujah. Yes, it was raining so heavily yesterday over there. We've had some real big downpours, but actually it's been moderately fine the last couple of days. Thank goodness. Hi, Yona. You're on your second sleeve of your Rhinebeck sweater. Whew, coming up. You've got a whole suitcase full, Yona, that's going to go with you. This is extraordinarily good. So I can't wait to see the photos. Hi, Katie. Nice to see you. Yes, you're still on Wednesday. And Thursday is looking okay so far. Thursday's looking a bit better, I think, than Wednesday. You got soaked on your way to work, says Daria. Oh. Lynette's calling in from Melbourne. Yes, you see, there are a lot of you coming in from Australia, so I'm quite keen to come and see you. I think that'd be so nice. Hi, it's Mel in London. You just put down your whip to join. Oh, nice. Well, Mel, you could pick it up again, because I'm going to chat to you about a new pattern that's coming out. It's actually out. Like, you can get it now, because I did it yesterday. I thought I'll do it in readiness of today. So the pattern is actually live on Facebook, and no, it's not live on Facebook. That's me. It's live on Ravelry and Truly Myrtle on the website. But if you want a discount to buy it, then either you're a Wardrobe Toolbox person and you can hop over to Wardrobe Toolbox and grab it, and that is the best discount you're going to get. Or you might already have it in your library if you've been in Wardrobe Toolbox for a while. And otherwise, hang tight and I'll send the mini mag tomorrow morning, bright and early, Friday morning. I had a bit of a hiccup with the mini mag last week. I eventually managed to get it out on Saturday, but Google said it didn't want the email in your inboxes. And so it paused. The whole email was paused because of some Google hiccup. So if you've got a Gmail, go and have a look in your promotions folder and your junk folder. And if you see me in there, move me out and put me back into your inbox, because Google's decided it wants to throw me in your trash and your junk and all that sort of stuff. So that's caused me a little bit of a problem. Fingers crossed it doesn't happen tomorrow, because the email will come out. Yay, you made it live. Yay, Louise. Yeah, I know. Wouldn't it be fun to come? Anita's calling in from New York, Rochester in New York. It's 27 this afternoon. It's still warm, isn't it? But you go from 5 degrees in the morning to 27 in the afternoon. That is absolutely nuts, isn't it? Yona said, I just realized I cast it on Rebel. That's what I'm wearing today. Yes, so I'm wearing Rebel. This is not the new pattern. This is an old pattern from many years ago. I love this pattern. I've coordinated myself with the new pattern. So I thought we would all be color coordinated today. I didn't paint my nails bright red, which I did for the photos. I'll show you the photos. It really suited bright red photos. Oh, I don't actually have a photo in the pattern of me with bright red nails, but I do. And it looked really good. But I've got the pattern here because my printer's broken. I've had to put it on my phone so I can tell you about it. Endless problems. But anyway, this is Rebel. She is a little cardigan that's knitted in fingering yarn. It's a Rebel a bit like David Bowie, but also because It uses a single spun merino. Now, it is a superwash merino, so it doesn't pill, but traditionally you wouldn't use a single spun for a garment because, they're prone to pilling and problems and all that sort of stuff. And I just broke all the rules, rebel, and made this cardigan out of it. And I've been so happy with it. I used Walk Collection. It's a German brand, Walk, W-A-L-K Collection. And I think the color is called Solar System. I think you could probably still get it. I absolutely love it. It is electric. It's actually it's even more electric in real life than I think it's showing. It's showing slightly dull on the computer, I think, but it's vibrant. I always feel good in this cardigan. It's really good. She's just cute and short, and she has these ridiculous, useless pockets, which I really like in the hem, just so it's the hem, and the cuffs have a little V at the cuff, and you have the same at the back of the neck. So she's real cute. I like this one. But the new pattern I have for you is called Spring Fling. And this is Spring Fling. And she is brioche. She's a brioche shawl. And for those of you who feel particularly anxious about brioche, don't worry, because this is really the first lot of brioche knitting that I did. And I made a whole shawl. I designed a shawl and I made a shawl. And I'm going to tell you how I did that, because going from kind of zero to hero, really. I knew how to do some brioche stitches, but I hadn't made anything with brioche. But this is her. She's large, like that. She's a beautiful big crescent. I love the shaping through the middle, so it mitigates some of the hump that you get at the top of a shawl, because she spreads out through here. And this is when you can show off your newfound brioche skills. I don't get you to do a lot of crazy brioche stitches. I actually think this is a really good shawl for somebody who is new to brioche. I think you can learn brioche. By the time you get to about here, you're like a total brioche master. You're like, oh, I don't know what I was so worried about. This is completely addictive. I can't stop. By the time you get to about there, I reckon. So I'll tell you the story of what happened. Well, first of all, I had all these wardrobe toolboxes, and they kept telling me, we want brioche, we want brioche. And every season I do a survey, and I have to take a breath. Every season I do a survey, and I ask them what they want in wardrobe toolbox, and we've just done one. And everybody tells me all their bits and pieces and what they like and what they don't like and what we need more of and what we need less of and how they've found it and all those sorts of things. And I just kept hearing season after season, brioche, 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 brioche. And I was thinking, oh, flip. Okay, maybe I should think about doing some brioche, because everybody's wanting it. They're wanting to learn how to do it, and they're wanting just to have it anyway. And but I was thinking, it's going to take me forever to make something with brioche, because I'm not an expert at this by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a beginner brioche knitter, and I can't afford the time to be ripping it back. I am like boom, 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 boom with all my deadlines, and so I just panicked at the thought of having to sit there and make something in brioche and then rip it back. So I put it off, but eventually it just became overwhelming. That's what we had to do. So I thought, look, suck it up, Libby. You can do it. Just get stuck in and figure this out. So what I decided to do was teach myself how to do brioche so that I could read my knitting, because I wanted to be able to fix my mistakes. I wanted to be able to avoid mistakes. I needed to slow down the process of frogging. I needed to speed up the knitting and not be stuck trying to fix things. I didn't have the time for it. So instead, I took a bit of time before I started, and I started making some little swatches, and they were this big. I've got a couple left. I ended up ripping back, starting again, ripping back, starting again. I did that a lot, and until I started to see, oh, I get it now. I get what happens with this stitch here and that stitch, and this is where the yarn goes, and this is what I need to do. And then it was really quite an interesting exercise, because by the time I had done that for a couple of evenings, I spent a couple of evenings just doing little swatches like this, I could then fix my mistakes. It was just bizarre. It was such a good lesson to me about learning to read your knitting. Like, I already understood about how good it is to read your knitting, but this was like next level reading my knitting. And it made me so much more confident so that I could just plow on. So I literally did things this big That's not many stitches. And I practiced doing some sort of casting on, and then I did things up the side, which I've obviously stuffed up along the way. I mean, this is by no means perfect. And then in the next one, once I'd got the basics down on a little bit, back and forth, okay, I get the basics. The barks and the burps and the lit one yarn over, I get all that now. Then I moved on to doing increases and decreases. And so I started with increases, and you can see at the bottom here, I've done a whole lot of increases and figured out different kinds of increases in doing them. Look, I've made mistakes. See, I made a mistake there. You can see it when I look back. I did this lots of times. This is not my only swatch. I've ripped and did it again and ripped and did it again until I got things. But this one I kind of kept going, and then I did some decreases and then some more increases. And as I was going, I was thinking, what would be the nicest way to bring brioche to you so that it wasn't completely overwhelming, so that you can do it and think, oh, great, I've done something in brioche. Either you can tick it off the bucket list, or you can feel like I can try something a little more tricky if I want to. And in the end, I decided I'd just stick with the simple brioche stitches, the barks and the burps and the slip one yarn overs, and I would do some increases. And I think just a couple of different increases in here that sort of build on one another. It's not overly complicated. And to be perfectly honest, it's incredibly addictive. I couldn't stop. Once I started, I just thought, oh, this is absolute magic. I loved the way that it's completely reversible. I loved the way that the colours pop out and recede. I do think that learning with two colours is easier. And I would recommend when you're doing it, you pick a really bright colour, like I did, high contrast between them, so there's no muddling. And while I would recommend using a woolly yarn so it doesn't slip off your needle, probably I did use a DK, so my stitches were big, they were easy to see, and I did use a worsted spun yarn so that it was quite sleek, and that was fine. But if you're really nervous about stitches slithering away, particularly if you're trying to fix your mistakes, because I got to the point where I could drop back and I could fix that, because I understood what had happened, with the bar going across. I'd understand what I'd done, and so I could fix it and then work my way up again. You could use a woollier yarn if you're worried about stitches slithering away on you, but otherwise you could, I would recommend using like a DK or something like that, strong contrast, to do a practice. And what I did for the wardrobe toolboxes was I actually made a bunch of videos for them about brioche and covering those stitches, and I also did more videos about how to fix your mistakes and things like that. And then we got guests in to come and talk about getting started with the basics, and then we got another guest in to talk about advanced techniques. And so we covered all the bases that month about brioche, and out of it grew this shawl. And so Spring Fling was born. And so I decided that I wouldn't start her with anything too complicated, because I thought, no, we're going to start a little bit easier. So I started her with an I-cord tab, which isn't too tricky. You can do that. I know you can do that. And then I can see I've pulled a stitch back here. I need to ease it back into place. And then we went into the increases down the edge. So you can see how they grow out of the edge. That's a pretty simple increase. And then we do a bigger increase at the middle here. And those just continue all the way through. And then what I decided to do was to add in these eyelet rows. And so if you're stuck at the end of the eyelet rows, you can fudge it. Because you might not like what's happened up here if you've made a mistake, but you could also ignore it, and you could say, plow on, I'm just going to keep going because I've got this far and I'll be frigged if I'm going to rip back. So you could plow on, and then when you get to the eyelet row, you fudge your stitch count to get it right again, so you can move into the next section and so on. And I've given you quite a few eyelet rows all the way through so that you can do a bit of fudging. And the I-cord continues all the way down the side. She's really pretty. She's like she's simple, but she's very effective, I think. And then what I did at the bottom was I finished her off with these short row, ripples at the bottom. And we just do a It's the simplest short row you can ever do. You don't have to pick up your wraps or anything because it's all in garter. And I thought by the time you get to the end, I'm just going to give you a bit of a break, and you can just knit with your boldest colour and create these lovely little short row scallops at the bottom. And then the final thing is an I-cord bind off. It's a very long I-cord bind off, but it's worth it because it ties everything together all the way through. And then you just have this beautiful big crescent shawl, and I would wear her like this, just as having a nice bit of colour around my neck, but I also love wearing her like this. I actually really love this way. I quite like the cream side out, but you can also have the colourful side out. But I just wear her around my shoulders like that, and I think she's pretty groovy, just wrapped around your shoulders, because she falls at the back with the little scallops coming down, and you could, if you wanted, just scoop her up over your shoulder like Jenny does. I saw Jenny the other weekend and she does this beautifully. She does a great big scoop, and then you can tie her up with a brooch or a shawl pin or something like that, and she's just can be super pretty when you're wearing her. So that's sort of how I got there. And by the end of it, I was like, oh, this brioche thing, I'm like, I got it. I've totally got it now. There are no decreases in this brioche shawl, so I haven't made you do any of those. I've kept it to simple stitches. There's a lot of brioche. She's a big shawl, but I tell you what, you're going to be a master by the end of it. So in the pattern, I also did other things to make your life easier, because there's lots of markers to show you when to do increases and things as you're going. And so I ended up in the pattern creating, like, that's a page in the pattern with stitch counts, and I've even banded it so you can see the colors, whether it's the cream eyelet section or the gold or the pink. I've banded the colors, and I've made it I've told you where the stitch count happens, so that's a really nice one to follow. Once you're in the rhythm of it, you can go back and you can just check your stitch counts in all the different places. So that was quite a big page in there that you'll want to know. But should we talk about yarn? Because I think the yarn is the really fun part when it comes to brioche, because you can have such a lot of fun with quite cool colors, very, very cool colors. I decided to go for fairly high contrast between my bright color and my cream. I mean, it could be higher, but I've got a reasonable difference between them. On the front, I've used the cream as the main color. I call this the front, and it really tones down those bright colors. But on the back, if I want, I could go for the back, and then the bright colors really stand out. So you've got lots of, it just gives it a nice difference. I'm just going to check your comments, and then we can go back and we'll chat a bit about yarn and what you've got. Are you living in North Linda and you're finishing off your Noah? That's nice, Linda. Idaho. Yes, Cindy's going to make a Rebel. There's a kit for Rebel on the Walk Collection website. Is there, Jenny? Well, that's good to know. I must use some more of their yarn. It really was, the thing I found about this yarn, it was so beautifully evenly dyed. For a hand-dyed yarn, it was extremely even through it. I had, the pooling is just pretty much non-existent. And it's actually, it was fantastic. I did not alternate skeins down my sleeve. I just didn't. And but the colour was extraordinarily good across the skeins. So I think she's a fantastic dyer, absolutely fantastic dyer. Susan's at Tandy. Oh, you lucky thing. I know exactly where you are. The visit to the wool shop and to see Tom soon. I love Polwarth. Yes, Susan, me too. It's absolutely beautiful. Oh, Terry, you're back in New Zealand. A cool morning in the deep south. Welcome home, Terry. It'll be colder, that's for sure. Will there be tutorials? Okay. Yes, there are tutorials. So what I've done, and the page is waiting for you now. Yona, you actually have access to all of these tutorials and more inside Wardrobe Toolbox already. So for those of you in Wardrobe Toolbox, if you just hunt up brioche, I'll put a link to it in the next email I send out to you. But if you put in brioche, it'll come up with our brioche lesson. And in that lesson, there are four videos. And I walk you through the basics of brioche. I have two videos showing you specifically how to do the stitches, and then a final video about fixing mistakes. But we've also got other videos in our brioche bundle which are our masterclasses that we had on brioche. So there's heaps of helpful information in there, lots of really good tips for you. So go and check that out. But what I've done is I've whipped out some of those videos, not all of them, but some of them. I've whipped out the intro video, at least some of it. I've chopped it up a bit, and I've whipped out some of that intro video. I've also whipped out the 2 videos where I show you how to work the stitches that you need in the shawl. I haven't done the fixing mistakes video, that's just inside Wardrobe Toolbox. But I've put those 3 videos that I've whipped out onto a page on my website on Truly Myrtle. And so if you go to my blog, trulymyrtle.com/blog, you'll see it there. I think it says Brioche Beginnings or Beginning Brioche. Click that and it will tell you you'll be able to watch the videos. Now, a couple of them they're like a quarter of an hour long, a couple of them. But I've got lots of ideas in there for you. I show you mechanics of doing the stitches. I talk to you about doing little swatches. I talk to you about yarn, all sorts of things. They're really good videos to watch. And you can, if you're a total brioche beginner, start there, because you can completely do the shawl. If I can do it, if I go from being, oh yeah, I've done a few brioche stitches, I kind of get the guts of it, but not really done any, to making a whole shawl and designing it and then putting it out for you, then you can do it. You can totally do it. So utilize those videos to help you kickstart so that you can get past that initial part that I had to read about, but you can watch the videos and then just make some little swatches. Spend 2 evenings like I did and make some little swatches, and then off you go. You'll find it really, really helpful. So that's already there on the website. If you go to the pattern page, both on Ravelry and on Truly Myrtle, the Spring Fling, this is the name of the shawl, Spring Fling pattern page, I've linked back to those video tutorials as well, so that it's just the background of brioche for you. So that's all there. It's all live and waiting for you now. But if you do want to get the shawl with a discount, you can buy it today if you want to. You're more than welcome to do that. But if you want to wait till tomorrow morning and use my mini mag code, then you'll get a discount, and just jump on my mini mag list, and that's at trulymyrtle.com/mini mag. So if you jump on that list, I'll give you a special code just for my mini mag subscribers, and then you can grab it from Ravelry or my website for a discount. So don't forget the wardrobe toolboxes. You've got it inside Wardrobe Toolbox. So go and have a look over there. Let me have a little look. There's some beautiful examples around of the wardrobe toolboxes that have made this one. And I have to say quite a few of them were people that hadn't done brioche before. And so they really embraced the challenge of it and learned how to do brioche by knitting the shawl, which is, I think, amazing that you have a good result out of that. Winter is still lingering, says Pauline in South Australia. Oh, you're sweet. Slowly easing into spring. Oh, that's all right, Pauline. I'm glad you're going to enjoy those videos. She's a beautiful spring shawl, and Spring Fling is a perfect name. I've tackled brioche and you're tempting me to cast on. Go on, Katie. I reckon you can do it. She is. I mean, of course it is spring down here, so it feels very springy. And so that's why I chose really springy colours. And, you know, she's just pretty and fresh and lovely. But you could do yours in any colours you want. Let's talk about the yarn now. Cindy's going to try again once I practice some more, because I gave up because I made too many mistakes. That's what this is for. And yes, you will probably make mistakes in the shawl, but not nearly as many, and they won't be as catastrophic, because you will have spent a couple of evenings doing this, just like I tell you in the videos. And when you've done that, you'll be thinking, okay, good, my loins. Off I go, and you can then tackle your yarn. Now yarn, these are the colors I used, which are delicious if you ask me. I used about 1.5 of this. This is from, I have to read because my brain's going asleep, Hedgehog Fibers. This is Hedgehog Fibers. And this is their absolutely silky. I forgot what they called it now. Let me just look and see what they called it. It's called Hedgehog Fibers Sock Yarn. It's 90 merino, 10% nylon. And this is cereal. And it is so soft. It is so lovely and soft. So I loved it. I thought it was beautiful. Now I will warn you, This is the cereal colorway that I got, and it's particularly cream. It has a yellow undertone, but it's quite cream, but yellowy cream. But the new cereal that I think they do is really apricot, massively apricot. So I don't know what happened to their colorway, but this is the one I chose. It was quite cream, and it's got all these beautiful speckles through it. You can see golds and pinks and greens, and oh, it's so lovely, and beautiful hedgehog fiber fashion. So that was the one, that was my main color, and I used about 1.5 skeins of fingering for that. And then this is what I have left from the other 2 skeins. Now this was also hedgehog fibers, the same base, the sock, and this is called Fool's Gold, which I think is a great name, Fool's Gold. And you can just see all of the colors in that. I think that you could do solids if you want, but brioche really handles a little bit of variety through it. And you can see through here, there's a lot of colors happening in there, and it really handles it so well. My pink one is my more solid. It's not solid, it's a semi-solid, but it's not variegated like the other 2. We have pops of everything in them. This one is more solid, and of course it does appear pretty much, kind of, these pinks do appear in these. This is actually a different yarn. This is a single spun merino from Le Bename, and it's called Bois de Rose. I don't know how to say that. B-O-I-S in French. I need my daughter here. Bois, maybe? I don't know. Bois de Rose. She'll laugh at me. And this is the pink, and it is a merino single. It's 366 meters per 100 grams. These guys are both 400 meters per 100 grams, or 437 yards. So I had this much left. I have told you to get a skein. I mean, you're going to need a skein each, but I haven't weighed these. I'm guessing they're going to be about 30 grams, maybe. I wish I'd weighed them now, but I haven't weighed them. Then they're more than half. I've used more than half a skein. I've told you to grab 366 meters of each of the secondary colors, and then 1.5 skeins of the first color. So you could use your stash. The other thing you could do is you could use different colors. You could have one main color over the top if you wanted, and then you could actually use bits and pieces from your stash all the way through to have quite different colors. And you could, there's lots of things you could do to play with the color if you didn't want to have them all matchy like I have. Barbara said, I found knitting Spring Fling shawl was a fun way to master brioche. I used Malabrigo yarn to make yours. Oh, beautiful. And was that a single spun Malabrigo, Barbara, or was it a spun one with a bit of silk in it maybe? If you're, like I said before, if you're quite nervous about it, then use something that has a bit of grip, because it won't slither away on you. And so you might decide to do more of a wintry version of this and have it more woolly, and you could even block it differently. So when I blocked mine, I block my shawls hard, and so I soaked it and I blocked it and I stretched it out, and so it flattens out the brioche a wee bit, but it becomes all oozy because there's a ton of yarn overs. Every stitch has a yarn over on either side of it, and so you can imagine once you wet it, it spreads like crazy, which is partly why I was so nervous about doing something in brioche, because I was thinking I couldn't do a garment. I was thinking because on the gauge, I just needed to make sure that I was really on point with my gauge. Well, you don't have to worry about that so much with a shawl. Start with a shawl. But you see, these ones I haven't blocked. And you can see how boingy and springy they are. So you could decide to either not block your shawl and have it really boingy and springy. It will be smaller. Or you could wet block it like I did and ooze it out, but it will be flatter. Or you go in the middle and you could steam it. And then that way you could get it into a shape you liked, give it a good steam, and it won't be as oozy as mine, but it won't be as puffy as the first lot. So there's different things you could do. And if you went for a wintry version and you decided to use a woollier, like a woolen spun fingering or something that had a bit more grip, then you might just steam it. And you might have this quite marshmallowy, cozy thing around your neck. There's enough size in this that even if you did that, you would still have a good sized shawl to wrap around your neck, I think. Now, I think, was it used Terry, who didn't make it as long, who finished it early? Because that's another option. If you run out of yarn or you don't want it so big, if you're not very tall, you might not want such a big shawl, then you could finish it early as well and just, you know, pop in the scallops early. You have to work out your stitch count, but you could finish it early if you wanted. You don't have to do the full size. Janice says, I never really liked the look of brioche, but your excitement is contagious. And I'm kind of digging the shawl. I might have to put this in my queue. Well, I was the same, I think, Janice. Like, I thought that looks cool. I'm not sure if it's for me because I don't have any time, and it looks complicated, and I dread to think what happens when I have to unpick and fix a mistake. I just don't have time for that. And do I really need this in my life? I could see all that for years and years, the other brioche people, you know, the brioche was really big for years and years and years. And I just sat back and didn't do it. I didn't feel the strong pull to do it, I think. And, but then in the end I did. And I really love it. I actually really love it. And I would like to do something again in brioche. I don't know what, but probably another shawl, I think. I'm not quite ready to think about doing brioche in a garment. I don't know. I just, I think I'd like to do another shawl if I did something first. I think that'd be good. Although it would be fun to do a hat because it would be quite fun to master it in the round. And so doing a hat or a cowl, I could do a cowl, that sort of thing would be nice. But anyway, at the moment, this is what I've got. I got this far and I was absolutely thrilled to get that far. Barbara used a single spun 4-ply Malabrigo. That'd be lovely. Reasonably slinky, I think, Barbara, wasn't it? But the colours are so intense in some of those Malabrigos, so that would be quite beautiful. Yona said, so I could use Holst yarn, super soft yarn for this in 3 solid colours. I don't see why not, Yona. I would definitely do a little swatch and see what you thought about it. And then you could practice blocking it in different ways and seeing what you thought of the result when it was done. But I think it would give you quite a beautiful effect if it was more puffy with the wool. I think that would look really nice. Bernadette said, I've got wool put aside for Spring Fling. I'm going to use the Yarnology Serendipity, exquisite from, the West Yorkshire Spinners, exquisite from your, well, it's good wool, hunting and skeins daisy print. It will be a travel project. That's a good idea, Bernadette. You've got a big travel ahead of you. So I think once you're in the rhythm of it, well, to be honest, you can't put it down. You're actually not going to be able to put it down. Once you realize that, oh, I've got it, I'm into it, I think you're just going to keep going. Just do a little bit more, just a little bit more. Oh, that's fun. Just burped. Well, thanks. You'll love it. I loved it. Terry said, I made a start in swatching, got no further, but I feel a bit more inspired to try it now. Yeah, try it now. I think it'll be just, it's lovely. Jenny said, I think a sweater with brioche on the yoke could look amazing. Yeah, I think if I did it, Jenny, I think probably just keeping it to the yoke would be what I'd do. Or, yeah, I'd have to think about it if I did it on if I did it in a garment. But at the moment, I have so many other plans. I've got a ton of super soft yarn in my stash versus a silkier yarn. I'd be nervous. Yeah, I think the silkier yarn. Look, do your little swatch, and you'll learn a lot by even just doing it that big. You will learn a lot about how the yarn wants to behave. Even once you've practiced, I'd get scrap yarn for practicing so that you can understand the stitches. You're not worried about wasting yarn. So you have all these little bitty bits flying around and you're not worried about what happens to them. Just use old bits and pieces. And I did like using the DK because the stitches were so big, I found it easy to see them. And then it was easy to work out what was happening. And although you could use a woolen spun or a woollier yarn for this, in a way, it wasn't bad using the slinky yarn because I was very clearly able to distinguish the stitches from one another. There was no woolliness going on. And so it did, I wonder if, I feel like that did make it a little easier for me to start reading my knitting. That's what you need to think in your head when you're doing it. You're thinking, right, I'm not just going to mechanically do some stitches. I'm going to understand what's happening as I'm doing it. Watch your hands. Watch where the yarn goes. And then you can see, I see. that goes like that. And if I'm going to fix it, it's going to be easier to go down one of these columns to fix it. And then I put them in the certain place. I see where they go now. Aha, I'm getting the hang of it. You can sort of see. Once you get in the rhythm of doing it, you can see how they all fit together. Like loops like that, happies and sads all the way up. And so do the practice on scrap yarn or waste yarn, but then if you're not sure about what you're going to use for the shawl and you're playing with some ideas, you could even use waste yarn for that as well, in the same kind of yarn. So if you're thinking, okay, I wouldn't mind using a slinky yarn, but I don't know what it will be like, maybe get some slinky fingering, and try just a little bit and see whether or not you really want to do it in that. Equally, if you're thinking, oh, I'm really nervous, and maybe I'll just do it in a woolen one, then do the little tiny one in the woolen one, but it doesn't have to be the final one you're using. Although it is good to see your colours, I guess. Lynn said, I dyed colourways very similar to mine, to these, 3, but on a 50-50 silk merino single yarn to make mine. Oh, that'll be lovely, Lynn. I've got a couple of kits to sell. I must load them on the website. Yeah, load them on the website, Lynn. Now that I've released it, and tell people they're there, because then they can go in if they do like this combination, because obviously I found this combination in my stash, which I often do for Wardrobe Toolbox. I will often find things in my stash a lot, mostly because we learn a lot about how to substitute yarn in there and what works, and so I feel like just pushing you a little bit further when you have to go and have a hunt. I don't always do it, but I often do it. Hi Heather, nice to see you. Becky said, I used a really dark yarn as my second colour to start, but I found it too hard, so I chose a lighter colour. You can see the stitches much easier, and you love your Spring Fling. I think I remember yours, Bex. Wasn't it all greeny blues? Was that your one, Becky? I think you did a few at that time in the similar colours, a few different things. Beautiful. Michelle said, I made a Nancy Machan. Now, she is the queen of brioche. The queen is Nancy. She made a cowl. Michelle made one of her cowls in the round years ago, and once I got into it, it was hard to put down. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I found it really so satisfying. Amanda said, I used a bit of sock yarn for my main colour and merino silk yak for my others, and I even had enough main colour left over to use as a second colour for my Diva socks, which are coming out soon. Oh, fantastic. Oh, that was right, Becky. It was those blue screens. I think I do remember it. I might have to pinch a few of your photos, actually, some of my testers and some of the Wardrobe Toolboxes to put in my mini mag this weekend. I'll see. But so I'm hoping that gives you some ideas anyway about the yarn you could think about and how you're going to practice, because I've got you for the practice, so you'll be fine. If you go over to that lesson on my website, go to my blog, and it's the one brioche beginnings, or beginning brioche. The actual web page is trulymyrtle.com/blog/brioche. If you go there, that will you can follow those videos, and you will just don't put any pressure on yourself. Cast on a little bit. I talked to you about that, and just do a little bit and get in the rhythm of it. And it's not going to happen immediately. It took me a couple of evenings to start getting a feel for it. It might take you less time, it might take you more time, but don't put your pressure on yourself. Just get to the point where you think, okay, I'm not terrified anymore. I'm actually thinking this is all right. And when you get to that point, then you could still be thinking about yarn all the time as you're going, and think about some colours you want to put together. Are you going to pick 3 colours like I did and then have a main colour that sort of pulls them together? Or are you going to have lots and lots and lots and lots of different colours and a main colour that pulls them together, or just change colours all the way through? I mean, you could have your eyelets a different colour. You could just do whatever you fancied, really. There's so much scope for making it absolutely yours. So, Spring Fling. Yeah, she's just so pretty. So pretty. I really love her. And this bright gold just matches my cardi. So, yes, I'm very, very pleased with her. That I-cord bind off, it's the longest one I've done, but it totally finishes it perfectly. Yeah, it's a killer. The I-cord bind off, it does finish it perfectly. It just neatens it all up at the end after the scallops. But I tell you what, by the time, that'll seem like nothing by the time you've mastered all this. You'll be looking at your shawl and you'll be thinking, I made that. And then you get to the end and you do your I-cord and you know how to do that, and it will work. It will work beautifully at the end. So she's got a lovely finish. Alrighty, everybody. I think that's me. Tamsin said, I use 4-ply possum merino yarn. It's beautifully soft and pretty in kale, blue, and beige. That would be nice. See, Tamsin, now you're a good example then of using something that's a little bit woollier. And so although yours will be very soft with that possum merino, you're going to have a good halo on that. And so it mutes some of the stitches a little bit. And so the overall look of it will be cozy and cushy. Did you block yours out? Wet block it out, or did you leave it to have a bit of a bounce in it? The halo will still be there either way, but I wonder if you left some of the puffiness in the stitches. There's a really good book called Brioche Workshop by Latanya Patricella, which is my go-to reference for brioche. Jenny, I haven't heard of that one. I've got a couple of brioche books here. I've got Nancy Marchant, and I've got one, I can't remember her name. Oh, sorry. That's actually a good one. I got it out of the library and then I bought it. There are some good brioche books around, and so if you're really into it, it's worth, I don't know, if you're really into it, knit it. Just knit it. Have a go. Be fun. Sabrina said, I used an alpaca silk linen, 50 alpaca, 25 silk, 25 linen, and you're so happy with the result. That's another whole look, isn't it, Sabrina? So the alpaca will also have no recovery, so that will ooze out beautifully, but brings such a lot of softness to it. The silk, I guess you have some sort of sheen that goes along with that if it's the shiny one. And then in the linen with all the flecks through it, will just relax it all down again. So yeah, great. That would be interesting look, I think. It's Ria Lavagna. Oh, Lavagna, not Latanya. It's Lavagna Patricella. That might be how you say it. Tamsin said, I'll post a photo. Hello is gorgeous. I haven't blocked it yet. I love it as is. I was wondering that, Tamsin. So with your fluffy possum in it, you may never want to block it. And yeah, you could steam it though, maybe. But I mean, do you ever need to wash these things? Probably not. Louise says, I think you've talked me into it. Oh, good, Louise. I look forward to seeing it. I think so. So what we'll do is, over in the Hangout on Facebook, head over to the Hangout. You'll find that at Facebook. Look up the Truly Myrtle Hangout. And I'll put links underneath these videos as well. And then yeah, come and join us over there and we can knit it together. And then if you're stuck, you can ask questions. I'd really, really love to see the yarn you're thinking of using, because I think that's the beauty of brioche, is playing with yarn. It is so perfect for really emphasizing the yarn. So even if you're using the simpler stitches like I've included, it's the yarn itself that gets to sing, I think, in these shawls. It's just so beautiful when you've got great yarn colors. So show me the yarn and the colors you're going to use. Go and watch the videos that I've got for you to talk you through the first steps of it. And then ask any questions over in the Hangout and show us. I'd love to see. And we're still giving away prizes over there. So every week we draw some prizes for people that have posted in the Hangout, and you can get a free pattern. So I think we draw 2 a week. So come and join us over there. I'd love to see you over in the Hangout on Facebook. All right, everybody. Happy knitting. Enjoy this one. I think it's a good adventure. It was a good adventure for me. I'm so glad I did it. And it's just one of those bucket list things, isn't it? Knitting bucket list. Have you got one? Just ticking things off that, yeah, I think I'd like to do that. That's something I want to try and do. You tried joining the Facebook Hangout last month and it was closed. Oh, well, it's always open, Katie, so I don't know what happened. But you have to make sure that when you're joining... Oh, no, you found the lounge, I think. You need to find the Hangout. And so if you... but you have to answer the questions, because you have to tick the yes. I'm going to behave really kindly to everybody in here. You've got to say that, and then you get to come in. So once you've done that, then you get let in the door. But it is open. It's always open. and there's always someone in there. So pop over to Hangout and you just click that you want to join, and then you tick yes, yes, I agree with all of these rules, which are just about being like a decent person, and then you get to come in. So we do that. I think there's about 5,400 people in there now. That's quite a lot. It might be nearly 5,500. Anyway, it's growing. There's a lot of people there. So come and join us. We would love to see what you're making. Okay, everybody, have a really happy day. Do lots and lots of knitting this week. Those are my colours as a reminder, if you're keen. The pattern is available right now on Truly Myrtle and on Ravelry. Get on my mini mag list at trulymyrtle.com/minimag. I will send you a discount code tomorrow if you want to buy it. If you're in Wardrobe Toolbox, please don't buy it there. Can you go over to Wardrobe Toolbox? You might already have it sitting there in your pattern library. If you were there in season 10, then you already have it. So go and have a look there first. And you actually get a great discount over there all the time anyway on all the patterns. So go on all the Wardrobe Toolbox patterns. So do that, and I will catch you next week. Marie says bring your own coffee. Good idea. Bring your own coffee to the Hangout, because unfortunately we can't pass it. As much as I'd like to pass it through the screen, I can't. All right, everybody. See you later. Have a happy time. Happy knitting. Bye. So many buttons.